Okay. All right, Lex, that's how you want your intro to be?
Yeah.
All right, Fabu, 3.
Wait, give me a sec. Hold on.
Oh
I'm not
my
ready.
God. Oh my God. All this time, bro.
This is, yeah. But the most important one, Lex, are you ready?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm FabuRocks, but my family calls me Fabu. I've been creating videos and live streaming since I was 7 years old. As a form of therapy that my parents, FabuMom and FabuDad have created for me to overcome my speech delay, learning disability, and ADHD. Now that I'm older and overcome many challenges, my goal and plan is to empower others like me. That is why I am founder and leader of the Fabu Army, a clan that supports and empowers young content creators like myself. I'm the youngest Facebook gaming partner and youngest firmware mixer partner. I'm sponsored by Turtle Beach, Rocket, and G Fuel. Before we get started, I would like to give a massive shout out to our sponsors of this podcast, Turtle Beach, Rocket, and G Fuel. You guys are awesome. This is season 1, episode 16, interview with LexxTv.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my god.
It's a holy experience. It's a holy guacamole experience. Thank you, Lex, for the inspirational words.
With me today is FabuMom. Hi. And FabuDad.
Hello, everybody.
And we have a very special guest with us today, LexxTv.
What's up?
I thought he was going to do the holy thing.
A man of a few words.
Holy moly. Okay. With me today is FabuMom. Hi. And FabuDad.
Hello, everybody.
And today we have a very special guest, LexxTv.
What up?
Yay!
Hey! 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 Me and Lex go way back.
Come on, Fabu.
Oh my god.
Mommy, come on, you got this.
Okay.
Breathe.
Today we're going to be interviewing LexxTv, FabuDad, and FabuMom. I'm super happy we're interviewing LexxTv. He's part of the family. He's been with us for a very long time. We go way back. He actually lives here in our hometown, Miami. And we actually ate CC's together. So, you know, we have that bond. And Lex, I would like for you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how old you are.
So what's up, guys? My name is Alex, also known as Lex or LexxTv on Mixer, Facebook Gaming, and currently now on Twitch.tv. Just turned actually 34 years old last month, actually a month ago. And I'm from Miami, Florida, like Fabu said.
Lex, I actually mentioned that you would we went together to PAX together. So how long have you been in the community?
I started, I actually joined the community back in 2018, the end of 2017. Like it was December 2017, but I didn't really join until the beginning of 2018.
Yeah, I remember.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, I remember somehow how we met Lex as we were streaming and Mixer. For us, you know, remember people, for us, live streaming, it was something new that we were doing with Fabu, going from, you know, transitioning from YouTube, doing videos and things like that. In the beginning of doing live streaming, they went to Twitch, and we made actually Mixer or home-based. We wanted to find other streamers from Miami, Florida. We were like eager to like, hey man, we don't know anything about streaming or anything.
I remember. I'm like,
And
they have
be-
to exist.
Yeah, there have to be people here from Miami, Florida. And somehow we stumbled upon LexxTv and a couple of other streamers that were actually here from Miami, Florida. We were like, oh my god, this is like freaking awesome. We need to talk to these people. We need to like hang out and anything and everything. And actually at that point, we decided to make like a little group, thinking that it was going to be a lot more people from Miami, Florida. Remember, like Miami streamers, like a group, because in Mixer you can make groups, right? Teams, right? And we make the Miami streamers, thinking there was going to be a bunch of them. We ended up just being like, a couple of us.
Very small group.
Yeah, it was a very, very a small group, which was pretty good, because actually, if you remember, it was the birth of actually from Miami streamers. We ended up later on, Lex and I got together from Miami streamers, and said, man, this thing of hanging out with people like like Hispanics, or like speak English and Spanish and all that, it's like somehow identify us. And when it comes to live streaming, something that we, at least in our side, we never had that experience before, and something that we wanted to actually, expose Fabu to that experience, a little bit, or Hispanic when it comes to live streaming. So, and then we create the Mixer Familia group that did actually expand to a lot more people, but it started from there, trying to look for people from Miami, Florida, and everything, which it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, and then that was actually right after PAX. Right after we came back from PAX.
Yes.
Kind of reevaluated everything, and we had spoken about it, and then when we came back from PAX, it became kind of official. We reached out to a couple of other streamers and other partners that were partnered with Mixer, that were we met like a couple of them there at PAX.
Yes.
And then that's when we started talking about expanding that and creating a...
Yeah, because the PAX that we went was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was PAX South, right?
It was PAX South.
And for us, like for us, it was our first PAX. I believe it was the first PAX for you too, like Rex?
Yeah.
So for all of us, it was the first PAX, and
We were newbies.
We were newbies, and then we were, and then imagine a lot of the partners, Mixer partners, it were their first PAX too. So everybody in Mixer were eager to meet each other and talk to each other, and from there we meet a bunch of the people that were Hispanics. They wouldn't even knew they were Hispanics actually, and at least ourselves, and actually, that's when we got, I don't know if we introduced ourselves. I think we introduced ourselves to the Latin community and the people that were in charge of Latin of Mixer, and then those same people from Latin Mixer that were there say, hey, look, go talk to this guy, go talk to this person and this person.
That's how it happened.
They're Hispanics, and trying to get something going on, get something together, and maybe something work out, because at that moment we already had done Miami streamers, but it was just like 3 people,
But it wasn't just that they were Hispanics. It's also that they were bilingual.
Exactly. The key there was bilingual, and that was like super cool thing, because it's totally different. Like for me, it's like, especially when you live in Miami, right? It's being bilingual and use of Spanglish. It's something normal,
Yeah.
Somehow it becomes part of who you are and how you speak to people and things like that. You don't use just Spanish or English as first or second language. You mix it up, and
Boy, do we love to mix it up.
yeah, we love to mix it up. And we thought that was cool, so we did indeed meet a bunch of people from PAX. I actually keep meeting through other PAX, but that's how somehow how it started, the whole thing. And actually from there we became more closer and closer with Lex and people that we started meeting down the line, but especially Lex, because he was here around the corner. He was here. Yeah, he was here. Yeah, he was here, and we were like, hey, Lex,
Some CCs.
let's go to the corner, Ingy Pizza, and let's talk about it. Let's do this. And man, that was for us, that was awesome. That was awesome.
So Lex, tell us, what hobbies do you do, and what do you do in your free time?
When I have free time, mostly I try to game as I still try to game as much as I can, but mostly working a lot now. And then with my girlfriend, I started a little side business, like t-shirt business. So it's actually been picking up a lot. So that's taken up a lot of my time now. Uh, it's actually a little like doing that is a little therapeutic, just because my job is a little stressful. But between that and gaming, I get to escape a little bit. But my hobbies right now are making shirts and all types of cool stuff, and gaming pretty much.
You
That's so
know,
cool.
do not
That's so
expect me
cool.
to add anything.
I don't know. I thought you were
there.
gonna like, oh, that's so awesome.
Yes,
you know?
and besides t-shirts, he go and
What a baller.
work out with me. Yeah, besides that, Lex and I, we work out every night. We go to the gym together. The gym.
And then eat pastelitos
Happy
after.
Fat Boys.
And then
We go
and
to
then eat
Happy Fat Boy.
pastelitos.
We go to Happy Fat Boys together. Before going there, we eat. We drink a milkshake from Chick-fil-A that they say is good. So it depends on the flavor of the day. We drink that milkshake because
God, bro.
a lot of people drink one of those things to prepare yourself, to give you energy to go to the gym. Lex and I are built different. For us, what excites us to go to the gym is drinking that milkshake for fish fillet, whatever it is in there, special
From fish fillet.
from fish fillet.
Fish.
And no, not fish fillet,
The
Chick
fillet
fillet,
of fish.
Chick fillet, and that's give us that boost of energy, of like, let's do this shit.
Oh my god.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it. And of course,
Oh my god.
after we finish with the section of
You eat some
and
pastelitos.
we go to La Carreta and eat pastelitos and celebrate that shit. And that's how we do it. Fuck it. Miami style. All right, next question.
So Lex, let's talk about something more serious. Let's talk about your. Okay, sorry. So Lex, let's talk about something more serious. Mental health. Tell me a little bit about your mental health issue.
Well, my mental health issue comes through the form of depression. I've kind of dealt with it on and off throughout my life. There's been times where it's gotten pretty bad. But for the most part, I always kind of like dig myself out of the hole. For me, it's just becomes a little difficult because I shut everybody out. Depression is not something, I don't wish anybody, I don't wish for anybody to have it, because there's different forms of depression. Just my particular experience with depression is, it doesn't always happen, but when it does, it hits me really hard. I can go maybe a day or two, like feeling just randomly down, or maybe like a whole week where I feel it like it's like something's coming, like it's just blindsiding me, just coming out of nowhere. But yeah, my mental health issue is mainly with depression. Mainly has to do with depression.
So Lex, when did you know you had depression?
I feel, well, I've never really been like diagnosed with it. It's just at an early, from like an early age, I feel like I felt the depression, mainly because, just to kind of like everything, how I feel like everything started. I was born in Nicaragua. I lived with my grandmother until I was 4 years old. So at the age of 4, I moved to the United States and I met my mother. At that time, it was hard for me as a 4-year-old to, have my grandmother, who I saw, my grandmother, my aunt, my uncle, who were there consistently, to never really seeing them as much, and then just being told like, hey, this is your mom, like, this is who you're gonna live with, this is your stepdad, this is your brother, these are your brothers and your sister. It was weird to me, but the depression started because I missed my grandmother. Like, at that time, I missed my uncle, I missed my aunt, and it was hard. It was, so thinking about it now, like, I've never really thought about it like that, but thinking about it now, it's like I've dealt with it since a very young age, like on and off.
I can
And
relate with that story of yours, Lex, and the sense is that I was raised by my grandmother. I was always there with her, even though that I was living with my mom. Uh, I have, maybe not a lot of people know that I have two sisters. They're twins. Um, but we are only 11 months apart. And my sister born like at 7 months, so there are always health complication issues with my two sisters. My mother always has to be in the hospital and things like that. That's besides the fact that I had a lot of issues when I was young, when I was a little kid, with asthma and a bunch of other issues. That my mom always have to be dragged to the hospital and things like that. So my grandma always took care of me. Somehow one way to help my mother with my two sisters. She's was going nuts. My mother got married and have us like at a very young age, and my dad too was very young too. And so I always had the feel that that my grandmother was my mom. I was born in Cuba, but we left Cuba when I was 8 years old, and always with my grandmother, always with my grandmother, because once again my mom always super busy with my sister and everything. We went from Cuba to Venezuela. Everything was a humongous change from Venezuela to the United States, another humongous change. But when we got here to the United States, my grandmother needed to go to live with her part of the family as her sister and things like that, um, because there were already issues within my family when it comes to my grandmother, my mother, and things like that. So instead of just continue to be together, and then we didn't have nothing when we came here to the United States. We were going to be living with my grandparents on my mother's side. There was not a space for my grandmother, so my grandmother needed to go to West Palm. And that moment, going to the West Palm and everything, she was diagnosed with cancer. With a diagnosis of cancer, she came back to Miami. We started taking her to the hospital, and it was already level 4. She was already fatal. So passed away pretty quick. And at that moment I was 17 years old, and actually through all that losing of my grandma or everything, I believe that who has not gone through somehow one form of depression or not in their life, right? That's myself how I met depression, let's say, for the very first time. Actually, it was very hard for me, because I feel that at the moment that I have lost a mother, a grandma, some that dear person, right, next to me through an early age and everything. And then yeah, it was like about, I would say, like over a year of depression. So to me, that was actually, when it comes to depression, that was my first encounter with depression. Yeah, it came from, that's why I wanted to add that something. It came with my grandmother, so I identify myself in that sense of having your grandmother, being there with you since you were born, and as your mother figure, etc., etc. So yeah.
Lex, did you ever seek treatment with like a mental health professional?
Never.
No.
Like, besides that, like, just with my grandmother, like it was always more of the sense of just feeling put aside. Like it was like I joined the family league. You get me? And
Yeah.
like I was always trying to like catch up to my siblings, and just be another one of the kids. Um, my parents never saw it that way. I brought it up many times. I've tried like later on, like opening up and talking to them, and it's like, wait, we never saw that. Like, we never put you aside. Like, but for me, like, I always felt that. Like, I always felt like I was kind of just like shoved to the side. Like, like I was just like some random kid, and and I missed my grandmother a lot. Like, my grandmother, she didn't necessarily. She was flying back and forth, like from the U.S. to Costa Rica to Nicaragua as well. So she was constantly flying, and then like you would just know she would always leave like the night after I fell asleep. But it's like I knew I would wake up in the morning and just run straight to her closet and hug her clothes and just cry. But like it was, I- you know, it wasn't something like oh, he's just sad because his grandmother's gone. Like it went on for a long time, like a really long time. Because when she moved to the U.S., she lived with my aunt and uncle, which I also lived with when I was living in Nicaragua until I was 4. So it was rough for me, um, mentally, because I didn't understand. So and I always felt like for example, like my stepdad was a lot harder on me than on his kids or on like my older brother, because my older brother and I have the same father, um through my mom, right? But I don't know, I always felt like we always felt like there was like a little bit of favoritism. My stepdad had, my younger brother and my sister, those are his kids, and then my mother's favorite was my older brother. And here I am, I'm just this new kid, who's just trying to fit in and just be like accepted by somebody, because the people who I had are gone now, like they're no longer living with me. But then when I would see them, I was like the happiest kid in the world. But I would get in trouble because I would call my aunt, my uncle, mom and dad, and I would call my grandmother mom, and like mom. My mom had me at a very young age. So I also kind of think about that as well, like looking back at it. Um, my mom was like 17 years old when she had me, and like when I when I met her, she was 21. Like, she was still young. She was still trying, I guess, trying to figure it out with 4 kids now, because not only
Yeah.
3 now, this 4th kid comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Not out of nowhere, but like this 4th kid is now here. Like, so
I think that
that's just part of it.
uh, you see, I can resonate too on the level that where you were saying that you were calling mom and dad to other, mother figures and things like that. I used to do that same thing with my grandma. Boy, I was in trouble with my mom. That was something that it was a humongous no-no in my house. It's not that my grandmother was actually making me to call her mom, but it was something that it came automatically natural to me to call her mom. She was there, she was taking me a bath, she was there in every sense of the word, in every minute, every second. Even when I got sick, like I said before, it was a sick kid, but regardless, I'm asthmatic, I'm a chronic asthmatic. And so asthma, when I was in Cuba, it was bad. It was really bad for me. Not exactly when I was in Venezuela, neither here in the United States. But in Cuba, my asthma was really bad. And the one that would stay with me on a daily basis, it was my grandmother. On a daily basis. And when I'm saying I was hospitalized as a kid, and I still remember, that really scarred me. I was hospitalized for weeks and months. There was times in my life that I was hospitalized for 3 months and things like that. And not because something major like, I break the leg or an operation or anything. It was just that asthma that was so bad that I couldn't breathe. And my grandmother was there on the daily basis. So for me, it was already natural to call mom. And oh boy, like I said, that was a humongous thing. So that was one of the reasons, like when I was telling you before, that my grandmother needed to, we needed to go apart when we came here to the United States. She needed to go to West Palm. It was that already there was issue within the family. My mom, my grandma, the whole thing of calling mom and things like that. That add a lot to the situation. But another thing that I wanted to add that, now, as you were saying, looking back now to all the issue, and when I had the depression, I think that, I don't know if, I believe that it have to do with, having young parents. My dad had me when he was very young. My mother she was very young. And they were uneducated when it comes to mental health or all that. Besides to being Hispanic and all that, they were very uneducated, detached with the concept of your kid to be depressed and which level, and they didn't know how to handle.
They weren't sensitive to it.
Exactly. So I was going to all this depression, let's say, right, at a young age, at 18, with my grandmother, and their answer and their reply is not, oh, he just mad, he just going through this thing because his grandmother, went away, he was the, that grandmother boy, the mommy's boy, whatever, and he would just get over it. Very dry. You know how Hispanic people are, right? Mm-hmm. It was very dry. He's going through this mommy issue thing, it's understandable because, his grandmother passed away and he was very attached, and, this type of, mother figure, mommy issue type of thing. And sometimes they even laugh about it, make a joke about it. But there was nothing funny about it. It was nothing I really felt really bad, and it was never addressed on any level. Neither I was there, never took to a psychiatrist or any professional mental health. Never. Actually, through all my life later on as an adult, I have been diagnosed with OCD as an adult for the same reason as I have going through my life with OCD, not knowing that I had it. Even though that my OCD actually got really, really, really bad as an adult. People around me, family and everything, it was like, you're fine, everything is good. Even though that, you do this and, you need to have, like everything in one place, and, you have the frame here, it cannot be moved. And, no, that's normal. People don't think like that. There's something wrong with people. So I grew up thinking that everybody else was wrong. Everybody else had a problem, not me. I was perfect. And to, I have to go to a really harsh moment in my life. I ended up going to a neurologist, and from there, psychiatrist, etc., and then find out as an adult that I'm the one who had the problem, not everybody else. So I believe that came once again to circle around what we were first started talking about. They have to do with, with young parents and uneducated parents that were detached. I'm not going to say that it was just, just because they're Hispanic or they were young. And not only that generation, I believe that it was a combination. Because not everybody from the generation of my mom, my dad, they're uneducated when it comes to mental health, or they are detached.
No, but
I think it was a combination.
But the idea of going to see a mental health therapist wasn't something common, nor was it something that they did frequently. If you feel bad, then you go see a doctor. But issues of the psyche, of the brain, weren't so easily diagnosed, and so therefore you wouldn't go to a mental health professional, because if you would have to, then it's because something's wrong with you, and then in turn, then there might be something wrong with me. So that's something that really was not talked about. The stigma of having to go to a therapist was big back then. It still continues to be, but not as much as it was back then.
Yeah, and for a lot of Hispanics family, they were addressed like, "Oh, you're going to a psychiatrist. I mean, you're crazy."
Right.
You know, it's that whole stigma, whatever. Even your cousins or whatever, you say, "Oh no, man, I just went to a psychiatrist. I'm going to therapy." Like, what, bro? You crazy? What's happening? And that's not because they're like ridiculous or anything. It's just that's the type of conception that they have through the family, and that's what they believe in, and so they don't think outside the box when it comes to like, dude, mental health exists. You don't have to be crazy. There's some punchless stuff that it could be, help and things like that into that extends,
And what I was even gonna say, that it's even more overlooked when it comes to a boy, because as a Hispanic boy, the concept is be tough, toughen up, don't cry, boys don't
yeah,
cry,
suck it up,
things like
suck
that.
it up.
Suck it up, exactly. Like look at this wuss, and so your own family makes you feel bad.
Yeah. Have you failed? Have you failed that, Lex?
Um, I guess yeah, in a way, because at an early age you learn to just kind of hide it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I did. Like, I guess that's probably why my parents never thought anything was wrong with me. Because I mean, the only time they ever thought it was wrong, like, was because sometimes it would get channeled as anger, and I walked
Yeah.
around with a lot of it, and
So
I
the
was
son, you
I
have anger issues. That's it.
at that time, yeah, and that's something that my mom. It's funny, like we spoke about it recently, and she remembers me having these
Yeah.
like taking stuff out on my younger brother, because it was mainly because my younger brother, he could go to my stepdad and be like, "Hey, Alex, just beat me up," and I probably wasn't even in the same room, and then my stepdad will come and beat me up, like.
They believed
So,
him.
it was like when stuff like that would happen, then I would get upset, and that anger would come out. That anger was building up, and it would just come out because and
That is
I
so
couldn't hold it
true.
anymore. I couldn't hold it anymore. But I learned to kind of hide the depression. Like, I was people who know me as a kid, and they like they spoken to me like now as an adult. They always say they remember me as this happy kid. Like, I would go to church, and like I sang in the choir, and like play different instruments, and I would run around, and you were such a happy kid. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much like. And it's funny because one of the guys who was a youth pastor when I was growing up, they left. There was a whole conflict with the church and the Latin churches and judgment and all this stuff that happens. And to make a long story short, his family was kind of pushed out, and we were very close to him. When he left, like, I spoke to him, I like met with him, like, I want to say like about a month ago, and we were just catching up, and I told him like pretty much everything I've been through, and since after like they left that church or whatever, and he was like, man, like, I never saw that. Like, he's like, you hit it well. Like, I never would have known. And he kind of like even teared up a bit. And I said this all in front of my parents too. Like,
Mm.
my parents were just there, like, whatever. But he felt it more. And it goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I always just felt like that kid that was just there. Like they were just babysitting some random kid. So they didn't have to care about me like as much as the other ones. And like even recently when I was telling that, and then he tells my parents, he's like, man, like your son is telling me like what he's felt, what he's gone through, and like he's like, you guys didn't know this? They're just like, eh.
Yeah.
And that was the reaction. That was the reaction.
Yeah,
that
it's
she-
that decision of deciding to ignore all those, let's say, symptoms, right? All those, one way or another, that cried out to help, listen to me, and address this in a better way. And I understand, because through all the time that I was telling you about, that depression, and the first time that I encountered depression at that young age and everything, I was too, happy kid and all that, never into, anger issues or anything like that. But I too got all the feeling and converted to anger. I did too, and actually that anger, it led me to, when I was one of my last year of high school, to even be part of gangs and everything like that, because I wanted to have an outlet of some type of aggressiveness and aggression, and had anger. And to me, it was, I don't know how, one way or another, I ended up involved in gangs and fights and everything, that it was totally not me. Actually, I started going to detention and being suspended and everything, and people that knew me in their school, it's like, what are you doing? You're not this person. Normally, this type of people had a history from the very beginning that was, going through that. But you're like, where is this coming from? And I never, I didn't feel that I was okay to open to the people, because when I actually opened a little bit, they would tell my family when they come and pick me up or whatever, and they like deny everything. They pretend like it didn't happen, it didn't exist. So actually, the school put me
Like a social worker?
a counselor, they will call a counselor. And for the first time, it wasn't even therapy or anything. Actually, that counselor used to, like being more open to the person, to the counselor. And thanks to the counselor, actually, to be quite honest, he was the one who actually opened the eyes. Like, what you're going to is a depression, and this is how you're getting your anger and your filter into this way. And if you actually open your eyes and see, it's not you. This is not you. Open your eyes. You are involved in things that is not you. It doesn't define you. But if you continue to this path, it will. You're young, and it means scars you later on, with record and everything, when you turn over 18, etc., etc. And unfortunately, a lot of people go through that and never get corrected, never have that nice counselor or the family that actually went on top of them, and they have been scarred later on, and they feel they're being trapped because you already have a record of being aggressive, or you already mean neither you wanted to begin with. That was not who you are, and somehow that depression started defining you and started being a snowball, because never, adjust properly through life, and it's not good. Thanks God I had this this counselor that opened my eyes, and I was able to sit on myself and say, wait a minute, it's true, this is not me. I should not let this to define me. I need to
Cut out of it.
Just stop. This is not me. I refuse to be labeled as a gang member, or labeled as a as anything, neither have a record or anything like that, because I have other plans for myself. And success don't start being a gang member neither.
But you're very lucky.
Neither.
You're very lucky to be one of those that a counselor was actually able to intervene
Yes.
in your life prior to anything,
So yes, it's true. It's very easy when you're going through a depression, get all of those emotions battling within you, and convert it as as anger. I remember that time my mom always said that I have anger issues. I was always angry. Somehow it was my fault. Never went to that. What's the situation? What's the problem? What's the issue? Neither my dad or nothing. It's just, you're just angry all the time. You have anger management. Like, you have issues. You have issues.
But
Right.
then there's
That's it.
those that instead of it going and becoming something aggressive, then it becomes self aggressive, so self-harming, and then it's brought in with the suicidal ideations, because at that it takes that person, it brings it to that person's inside instead of it being, outward sign of aggression.
Yeah.
So,
And it's like, just to kind of touch base on like what you were saying, how you fell in, like you fell into like stuff with gangs and stuff like that. I feel like, man, my life could have gone. I could have taken a really dark path.
Oh yeah.
I really didn't like. I always, luckily, I still had my grandmother. I still was able to talk to my grandmother. I was able to see her. Um, and at one point she did end up moving with us, so it did help me. But I was still seeking acceptance from my family. At this point, when she moved in, like, I've already understood, like, okay, she's my grandmother. This is my mom. This is my dad, my stepdad. These are my siblings. But now I'm seeking acceptance. Now I'm no longer depressed because I miss my grandmother. Now I'm depressed because I want to be accepted as one of the kids. Um, so there's a lot of things that my family doesn't know what I fell into, and I'd like I want to say only a couple people. And I'm not sure, like, in that, like, how much I can touch, in the podcast, but like it was some like I got into like some stuff, and I could have ended up dead or in jail.
Yeah.
And
I could totally relate on that. I right now, like, from people from back in the days that I remember as young kids, doing a punch of the crab. I would say 90% of those people that ended up really bad. It could have been me. Actually, thanks to not only this person start opening my eyes and me realizing that it had nothing to do with me and start going to the different path. It was hard going to a different path at that time, because when you get into that lifestyle and to that, gangs and all that, it means that you're already part of the family. It's not so easy. Detach yourself, because you create good friends and things like that from there. But to me, it was very hard to detach myself in that. But I have even more motivation when I start seeing these people going to even more trouble and getting to even more trouble and more trouble, that I was like, wow, if I keep staying a little bit more and more and longer, this is gonna be my path. And I for sure now, I'm more even encouraged, self-encouragement. I have to get out of there, because still my family was in denial, let's say, right? And I need to get out of here, because once again, I always looked into things as, this is not me. This is not who I want to be in my future. This is not gonna define me. And from early age, I didn't know what I was gonna be or anything, but for sure, I didn't want to be labeled or anything that have to do with that, especially with all this thing that I already seen that it was going through. Today, there's a bunch of people that are actually in jail and dead. And I'm very, very thankful that I was able to get out of there. Only a few people that I know from even that moment, they're okay, because they were able to detach themselves at the same time through that issue. And overall, now that we are adults, and those are actually good super personal friend of mine, best friends, and we sit down and we both understand that everything to led to that, it was depression. I'm not gonna go in depth for their side of the story, because it's their story to tell, not for me to tell. But it was depression who led them get there, to let them to go through that route. And it was the same thing of me, and we were one of those lucky people that today we could just sit, have family, being able to chill, being successful in their own rights, and say, hey man, I made it. I was able. But you know how many people were not able to make it? And everything, the roots of all that is depression. And that's for one, like you said before, And that's just one, one of the a gazillion million billions roads of the depression could take. It could take you if you don't have the control of it. It could take you to one of those roads, and they don't look really good, let me tell you.
So, Lex, it sounds like you had depression for a very long time. Which hobbies did you use to cope with your mental health issue?
Well, like I was saying earlier, like I was going down a really bad path, and when I realized it, like I said, luckily I still had my grandmother to kind of guide me. Um, and when I realized where I was going, like or the route I was taking, and seeing like a bunch of like messed up stuff, like I was like, I don't want to be in this life. So I had to cut ties with certain people, and at that time, that's when I picked up music and weight training also. But in order for me, when I was at home, I was extremely depressed, so I did everything in my power to never be home. So I was constantly either practicing the trumpet, or in the weight room, like weight training, or jogging, or I even took night school classes in high school to avoid going home. Sometimes I would stay after school until night school. I would do like an extra weight training class, and then I would jog home, and shower, go to bed before like my parents came home from church, just so I wouldn't have to deal with any of like pretty much anything.
So you replace your
I
negative outlets with positive ones.
I tried, yes. And then like dealing with depression now as an adult, like getting older, gaming was a big part of it. So gaming has like a lot of people use gaming as an escape, and for me, when I started streaming on Mixer, it was it was it was random. Like I used gaming as my escape, but then I saw people like streaming, and I was like, yeah, I can do that. Let me try it. So I tried it, and it was fun. I met a lot of great people, and a lot of the times, when I was depressed and I got on, the community would bring me up. Like people would notice, like, hey, something's off. Like, what's up? And they
That
would get me
community
talking.
support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would get me talking. I'd start opening up a little bit, and it was more therapeutic. Like this right here that we're doing, it's like therapy,
Yeah.
in a way, because it certain things for me are hard to talk about just because I get a little emotional about them.
Hmm.
Um, but like just talking about it, like it helps a lot, and especially the way I deal with my depression, I shut down and I block everything off. Like I block everyone. I can talk to you every single day. But when I'm depressed, I won't reach out and tell you. So
It's
like
that shutdown mechanism.
Yeah.
yeah. So my hobbies, just to go back, to the question, like were music. Have always been music, um, gaming. Not so much weight lifting anymore, but yeah, it was just the
Don't
most
worry, we're
recent
gonna
one,
go to the gym
gaming.
together. Don't worry.
The most recent one has been gaming, and even now, like the clothing brand, and like making the different styles of clothing and stuff like that. Even that has become therapeutic. Like
Sure.
it just gets my mind clear, and I'll put some music on while I work on a design, and and then to see the outcome on a shirt, on a T-shirt, and to give it to somebody they love it, like it's rewarding, and I had fun making some of the stuff, so that's been my way to cope with it, but it doesn't always, it doesn't eliminate the problem,
Yeah.
um but it helps.
Yeah, ways to cope. Yeah. So you have been with us for a couple of years. Have we helped you in any way to overcome your depression?
Definitely. Like
Yeah,
I
like
can
going to the
honestly
gym
say that.
together.
I can honestly say that, like the relationship that I've had, that I've like with you that we have, like it's genuine, and from the beginning, like when we went to PAX, like it was fun because like uh, it's just like I don't know. It changed it. If I was depressed, I knew I could turn on your stream and watch you guys, and I would laugh like nonstop. Just and I would join in, talk in the chat. Like I felt like I was a little more involved. Um, but you guys definitely helped a lot. There was days where I didn't stream myself because I was down, and you guys went live. I went into your stream and I had a blast, and I'm like, man, I needed that laugh, like. Or like FabuDad said something, or Fabu said something random and just cracked me up, like it's helped me a lot. It definitely helped me a lot watching you guys, and not only that, like just talking with FabuDad, and just like he's kind of giving me like some guidance in certain things, and
His wisdom.
yeah.
What type of speedo to use in the gym?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
How many pastelitos to eat? At night?
To lose some weight.
Like definitely like this the friendship that we have, like I feel like it's a blessing, like it's been a blessing to me because
Now we feel that connection from the very beginning. For us, it was always making sure that you knew we were all there. That's something that we always want to let you know, and we always have been letting you know we always here.
No matter what. No matter what. And no judgment, with no judgment.
With no judgment, open arm, and somehow that's how we build the community in Mixer, right? We didn't judge anybody. It was just about have fun through all this. Actually, all this episode or this podcast, the first season, you through therapy. Then now we just left to now it's gonna be the season 2. It's gonna be talking about the journey that we took for live streaming. We're not there yet. We don't have to talk about that, but we have talked about a little bit here and there. At one point, we noticed that when we were doing live streaming, doing everything that you have said, laughing, because in the end, what we created was a show. We didn't knew what we were doing, and in the end, it was not only therapy for Fabu, but we ended up being part of that therapy.
Yes.
Myself, Mom, because that's what I have to tell people. Everything started just doing therapy with Fabu, but when we started doing live streaming, the therapy took to another level.
Yeah.
That therapy, it took to completely to another level. Out of the sudden, we started noticing that the therapy was for a family. Our family, it was growing even more stronger than ever before. So that it was somehow a therapy for a family. The three of us getting it together every day at 7:00 to stream together. We used to tell people, it may sound corny or not, but we always say this is the best time of our day. When we stream it, it was truth. We felt that. I felt it. FabuMom felt it. Fabu felt it. And that was actually a therapy for the family. It was not only for Fabu, a therapy for myself. Every time that, make a joke and be able to connect with other people like Lex and other, people in the chat and what are playing and things like that. But a lot of the time, actually, while Fabu was playing one thing, I was playing something else. Let's say with Lex and things like that, making jokes, or we actually do rock band and start singing along, and to us that was freaking awesome. For me, that was therapy. It was all therapy for me too. Somehow it was not just therapy for Fabu, but it was therapy not only for the family, but it was a therapy for me. When we have that interactive board that people become a DJ, yes. and remember we all. All the songs that we used to sing. So Lex knew when he come to the chat, he could actually put one of the songs that he may like, from the DJ, and that's it. We stop everything we do and we start singing, those songs.
Yeah.
Why? And all those songs, they were all uplifting. you know, and everybody in the chat, you know, like freaking went bananas, and we were chilling, and that was a humongous therapy. Not only, once again, not only for Fabu, for us as a family, for me, and for people that were in the chat. So in regard, we felt that it was a humongous therapy section
Yeah, for everyone.
for everybody. You know, that somehow that live streaming and Mixer felt that it was doing. Even those games that we were playing with the characters like Keynote or Space Cat or HD, and Fabu was doing, and we ended up actually talking after all, and it was part of the same therapy, and people stayed just to talk, just to chat. It didn't have nothing to do with the game, but just chatting about this and about that and making jokes and things like that. Because believe it or not, laughing, smiling, having that little fun on a daily basis, it's a really good freaking remedy somehow, right? It's uplifting. You know, for us, it was something that we were hooked on it, that we needed it. You know, in a daily basis, we knew we gotta get that dosage of laughing, smiling, and you know, it's like what Lex was saying. You know, I know no matter what, even though, and for us, it's super awesome to hear that. That even if I didn't stream that day, I would go to your chat and I would laugh and I would do that and do this, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Not only because we were able to supply that to, you know, people like Lex and other people, but at the same time, being honest, we were getting those. You know, we were being part of that therapy ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, Fabu for sure was getting
rewarding
it.
For us, yes.
Yeah, it was rewarding for us. We would be part of the therapy somehow. That's how we saw it, and that was you know, that was the awesome part in a daily basis when, you know, when that happened.
What's funny to me is like even like Makinga. Makinga came from nothing. Like
Makinga
came from a typo.
Yes.
and like
now it became a thing.
It's a thing. It's like it's our thing. Like
yes.
You know,
yeah, that's Makinga right there.
I'm looking at the Discord and I'm like, yo, Makinga, like, you know, the text message, like we go back and forth. Like, oh,
but hold on, you have to explain to everybody else, Lex, how the Makinga thing happened. I'm not gonna say it. I want for you to say how it happened to Makinga, because people were like, "What the hell are you talking about, Makinga?" Makinga.
That's not even a word.
That's like, what the hell? It's a nickname. Like how that happened?
Well, it became a nickname. Like
yeah, it did. It became something.
We just kind of ran with it. But it was a typo. I don't remember what I was typing, but it's supposed to be making space A and then whatever I was typing. But I forgot to hit the space and I just wrote Makinga, blah 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 blah. And then I think FabuMom was like Makinga, and then
and then live stream. I read it and I keep saying, what is Makinga? What's Makinga? Like the Makinga? Like what is it, Lex? And Lex, there's no Makinga. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Bro, you wrote that.
Until we were like,
I did the Makinga or whatever. And he's like, bro, that's not Makinga, bro. It's making that I make a whatever it was. I don't know what the hell that whatever it was. I make a whatever. I'm like, I didn't. Bro, but I read it Makinga, bro. It says Makinga there. I'm like, no, bro. I want to make Makinga, bro.
It was like little moments like that. You get me? Like that. I'll forever remember that. And it was something so small, like
which became so big. Yeah.
But I say Makinga and I start laughing because I remember that day like it was yesterday.
You know, we used to have people when we go to PAX. You know, that year that we went to every PAX, even E3 and everything, all the gaming events. We used to have people in those packs that approach us. Hey, this is the FabuFam family. This is the Fabu family. Hey, whatever. Take a picture. And people are just like, man, I cannot. Like every time that I hear this song, it reminds me of your stream. It reminds me of you people singing. I cannot take away all of you singing, us in the chat going bananas. every time that I hear this song, and for us that was mind blowing. I never thought that it would take to this level that people actually would approach you and say, every time that I hear this song, it automatically reminds me of you people, of the stream, of the chat, of having fun, everybody singing, going nuts. And that was awesome. That was very rewarding. That was very rewarding for us.
Yeah, because what started as something that we did as a family in order to help Fabu, like we never ever anticipated that would ever have an impact on anyone
Other than me.
other than her. Yeah.
By the way, that song, it was High Hopes. Just in case we were like, what the hell are you talking about? It's High Hopes. That's one of the songs. One of the gazillion songs that we used to sing. Always, huh?
Which one?
For me, it was Whatever It Takes.
Yeah, that was another one. Oh, every song that we choose.
And Thunder.
And Thunder, it was always uplifting. It always had a message behind. It was always uplifting. Unfortunately, you cannot do this in any other streaming platform. You were able to do in Mixer because at the moment Mixer was not doing that ads or anything. There was no copyrights, no nothing, and you were able to put all this music with no problem whatsoever. You cannot even do this in nowhere, no in YouTube, not in Twitch, not in Facebook, nowhere. You cannot do this anymore. Besides the interactive board was only a Mixer.
That was an exclusive thing.
But it was awesome. People, approaching you once again, telling, "Hey man, every time that I hear this song, High Hopes, it just you people come to mind." And I feel like High Hopes, like it's mind blowing. I'm like, oh my god, this is, and it's true for us too. Every time that I hear any of those songs, it reminds me automatically of all those streams that we did. All those songs that we did in even in Rock Band.
Yeah, every time I hear High Hopes, it reminds me. Yeah.
And we jam on in the car just like we did in the stream.
Yeah, we still jamming in the car, like we still did it in the stream. And
we're still crazy.
Yeah, because we're crazy like that. And man, it was just awesome.
Good times.
It was awesome.
All right.
But now I don't know why I feel so sad for some reason. Like it's just like
wow. I'm not gonna say that it feels so sad, but yes, somehow it's not there no more. So not to go too nostalgic about, Mixer's not there.
RIP.
RIP Mixer. Who would have knew? RIP Mixer. And the set experience, it cannot be duplicated. Why? Because it was only possible on Mixer based upon the Cisco stanza. So it was for that moment, that time, and that's it. Wow. It cannot be. Even if right now we were say, okay, we're gonna do this. It just cannot be. You cannot go bananas with music
like
gone,
that. But never forgotten.
Yeah, like you cannot go bananas and do any of that in any of the streaming platforms. You just can't.
It kind of sucks.
You get a strike, you may even get banned.
Right out
3 seconds. So, but besides all, the feeling, the people, it was totally different. The hype, it was totally different. Actually, with all this thing that we're doing, it's and we always said it, if I was gonna be 13 soon, and we stepping,
13 hype.
We little by little, we're being stepping out and just leaving Fabu to be a front for a while, because in the end, that's always has been about Fabu, not about us. But we got caught into the whole therapy through the live streaming and Mixer, and we enjoyed it 100%. It was freaking awesome. It was freaking awesome. Yeah. Did I say that like 4 times? Let's say it another.
Say one more time.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah,
it was just freaking awesome.
And I guess that plays a lot into like everybody's experience into, because it was like you guys were genuinely having fun. Like it wasn't an act. It wasn't like a script. Like you guys were, you could tell that you guys were legitimately like you guys were legit having fun while you were streaming and playing, and you didn't know what Fabu was gonna say, and
it was so stupid. Yeah, we even have everything.
Random, like hit or miss. Remember when she had the hit or miss? Like,
oh yeah.
Like like she had her random days, like
All those things that we have, we have talked about it a gazillion time. All these things that Fabu always come out with, playing the game. Like one of the things that we started doing the board of, Fabu's quotes, right? That even we did T-shirts and all that about it. Fabu saying, "You mother's a turkey leg."
My favorite one is that do we have a plan? Let's say it in our minds.
Yeah, telling everybody playing Fortnite, "Hey, we have a plan. We have a plan. Yes, we have a plan. Let's say it in our minds. Let's do it." I'm like, what? 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 Gazillion things like that. Fabu, do it out of nowhere. I don't know how she come out with those things.
The Fabu-isms.
Yeah, and then like when she wants something, I remember that too. Where she wanted to say, "Hey, you know what? We had an opportunity to lose, but we decided to win. That's how we won." I'm like, wow, what? Well, let's make
That's
a T-shirt out of that,
right there.
and so on. So yeah,
Fabu wisdom.
good times.
Yep.
So Lex, knowing that you're super successful right now and you're right now a baller, what would you?
And you're in Hollywood right now.
Oh yeah.
Hollywood.
Hollywood right here, man. By
Yeah.
Pembroke Pines. Hollywood, Florida.
Lex, what would you advise someone in your same situation to do? Yeah, never mind.
What situation?
Same
What?
situation. On
That
how
he doesn't
to-
know which speedo to use on Mondays? That's a situation
Or
you're
how
talking
many
about?
pastelitos to eat?
How many pastelitos to eat? Should I eat guayaba y queso or should I eat meat? That's the situation you're talking about? Or which situation in particular?
Lex, what would you advise someone in your same situation learn to cope with your learning disabilities?
No, we need learning disabilities. What are you talking about now? Where did you bust out with the learning disabilities?
Lex, what would you advise someone in your same situation to cope with depression?
I would say try your best to not like shut down. By that what I mean is like, for example, going back to like myself, like I shut everybody out, and I feel like that's the worst thing you can do. Keeping things to yourself and just hiding those emotions it sooner or later it all comes out, and it can come out in a bad way. So I think talking about it helps. Find someone you can speak to. But overall, like, you're never alone. I felt at times, those times, I always feel the main thing I feel is that I'm alone, and it's a lie, because like I have many people who I can pick up the phone and just call. FabuDad, always checking up on me. Jay would check up on me from time to time, like just a bunch of people, who I can literally just talk to, and I would just shut them out, because it was just an instinct. Like, you don't want to be a burden to anybody. You don't want to be like, you don't want anybody to feel like, oh my God, here's this guy again. Like,
Pity.
yeah, and like, yeah, you don't want anybody also to have that pity on you and be like, so you keep it to yourself, and it's just worse that way. That's something that I'm still learning myself. I'm getting better at it, I can say. But I know it's hard. It really is hard, but just do your best to just know that you just because you feel alone, you're not alone. There's a lot of people who care about you, and there's always somebody who you can talk to. And that's it.
That's a great way to end the episode, with those inspiring words from LexxTv. And Lex, please tell everyone where we could find your content.
Okay, so you can find my content on currently streaming on Twitch twitch.tv/LexxTv. TikTok, I do post from time to time on TikTok. But channel is official_LexxTV. And on Instagram at LexxTV_.
Thank you, Lex, for being so open with us and telling us your story. And that's a wrap, everyone. I hope you liked this episode. And if you want to access any of the previous podcast episode, it's on FabuRocksPodcast.com. And I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors of this podcast, Turtle Beach, Rocket, and G Fuel. And I can't leave out FabuMom and FabuDad. Thank you guys for being in this episode and for a great episode.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having us.
I want to give a special thanks to our sponsors of this podcast, Turtle Beach, for providing LexxTv with an amazing headset that he is using today. And like always, just be yourself, because that is Falicious. Bye.
Bye. All right, Mickey Mouse. Holy guacamole.
I
feel so blessed right now.
I feel very holy. Thank you for
Thank
your
you
holiness.
for that. Yeah, that holiness.
Thank you for
It was such a blessing.
the holy performance of yours.
Bro, this interview just took 3 hours.
Oh.
1 hour to set up and 2 hours to do. Frick.
All right, I gotta stop that recording.
No,
No.
don't touch me there. This is my no square.
Hey, by the way, Lex, do you know I still have Bob?
You do?